Dear viewers and friends, Vandana. Welcome back to KNS Biochemistry. In this video session, I am going to talk about nanoparticles flow and the flow of these nanoparticles at the junctions of the blood vessels. That is nanoparticle flow study at bifurcation points. Bifurcations behavior of nanoparticles. Let us start the session. That bifurcations of the nanoparticles. That is what we are going to see in this session now. So, what is this bifurcations? So, many theoretical studies that have been done on nanoparticle flow. Even in the previous classes, we have seen about these nanoparticle flow studies. So many theoretical studies of nanoparticle flow that is going to deal with linear tubes, whereas in vivo movement, that is inside the system, that is called in vivo. In vivo movement occurs through complex vessel architectures with bifurcations. So behavior at bifurcation points, that is bifurcation means branching point. Behavior at bifurcations in a vascular vessel or vascular system, that is circulatory system, or any blood capillary system, it is a dependent not only on the particle diameter but also on the rigidity or the flexibility of the particle. Some particles may be rigid, they are not flexible at all. Some particles are highly flexible. So what is the rigidity property or flexibility property of the particle, and what is the diameter, the size of the particle? So it is depending on both. Okay, so that is an important one for this behavior of these components at the bifurcation points. Bifurcation point is the branching point. If you have a tube which is going, suddenly it is branching, then that branching point is called a bifurcation point. Colloidal transport in a bifurcating structure has been the subject of one recent paper study. That is, colloidal transport is a very, very important study that is going to give you bifurcating structure, how bifurcation happens inside the tubes. So this is a process which depends on the orientation of the bifurcations, especially with particles whose density is greater than that of the medium, as well as on the different flow rates in the individual branches, which are likely to be of different sizes. So here that flow rate, then this particle density, both are playing a very important role here at the bifurcation points. So if nanoparticles are trapped or associated at the bifurcation points, or indeed other obstacles happening in the capillaries, blood capillaries, then it is likely that they might associate more permanently. Then thereby they are going to have some changing properties, that is changing their intrinsic rheological behavior. Flexible particles do not, of course, suffer the same constraints in movement and progress because they are already flexible. But their flexibility can lead to slow negotiation of movement around the obstacles. Around the obstacles only, so that the slow movement of these components takes place, even though they are having, here you can see this picture, blood vessels, three-dimensional 3D structure of distributions of nanoparticles in a bifurcation airway model. So this is the bifurcation point where one tube branches into two. Similarly, here you can see this tube is going to branch into two. This is bifurcation point. For these branches, this is the bifurcation point. So wherever you have branches, you will get bifurcation points. So this bifurcation airway model, it has been proposed here for the blood vessels. This DEF is the deposition enhancement factor. So the deposition enhancement factor of these nanoparticles at this bifurcation point, that's called DEF. That is a representation shown here being for a steady inhalation. So here see that the components are going to deposit in this bifurcation point. While these data are for airflow, not dissimilar patterns of deposition might be estimated to occur in liquid flows. So deposition in these models occurs primarily by Brownian diffusion here in this point, Brownian diffusion, or the deposition efficiencies increase with decreasing nanoparticle size. The size of the nanoparticle here you can see that 30 liters per minute and 1 nanometer, and here it is 10 nanometer. This is 100 nanometer size. So depending on the size or diameter of the particles, you see that their distribution or the flow differs. The flow of these particles, nanoparticles, it is increasing. The deposition efficiency increases with the decreasing nanoparticle size. So if the particle size decreases, the deposition efficiency increases. So that they will be depositing in all this bifurcation. This is the point, bifurcation points. Here it is 1 nanometer particle traveling here, 10 nanometer particle, similarly 100 nanometer particle. In all the cases, you see that 30 liters per minute, that is the inflow rate, that is maintained. But still, the deposition of the particles varies depending on their diameter and size in the bifurcation area. Here, the third picture, you can see that more diffusion of these particles happens because they are having 100 nanometer size. So in this figure, you can see this area. Two captured pictures from a video of a large vesicle. This is the large vesicle moving in a flowing stream of smaller vesicles. So it is moving inside this large vesicles, moving inside the smaller vesicles. The stills show a flexible vesicle approaching. So that the vesicle will be accepting a large one and it will be adjusting. That is called a flexible approach. So flexible approaching an obstacle and rolling around the obstacle while adhering to it, it is a process encouraged by its elasticity. See that this area is highly flexible, highly elastic. It is having elasticity so that it will be accepting even bigger molecules, bigger nanoparticles. So they will be flowing even through a minute nano ranged capillary tubes. That is because of the flexibility nature of the these areas. Interaction with the blood constituents and endogenous molecules. Nanoparticles may interact with blood components. The components are blood constituents, components present in the blood. The absorption of albumin, IgG, and fibrinogen. So the nanoparticles may interact with the blood constituents. The absorption of albumin, IgG, and fibrinogen from blood. It is actually nanoparticles are going to interact with several components present in our blood. Albumin, the major portion, then immunoglobulin G, IgG, and fibrinogen, a clotting factor protein. So it is going to interact with all these components from the blood and onto hydrophobic particles, the hydrophobic components present in your blood, that is lipids. But the effect of nanoparticles on the blood components, the component or constituents of the blood, it has been less well studied. So one group of people, they have studied and they have got a data. That data indicate that the interaction of nanoparticles with erythrocytes, that is red blood corpuscles, RBC, it is going to change. It changes the dynamics of the flow rate of both erythrocytes and the flow rate of the nanoparticles. Then another group of people, they found that the nanoparticles as large as 450 nanometer. That is the size of the nanoparticles. So they are large particles with 400 nanometer size. They adhere to erythrocytes. That is, they are going to bind with erythrocytes, RBC, and thus remain in the circulation, that is in the blood circulation, for several weeks because they are tightly bound with the erythrocytes. The percentage of the latex nanospheres in the circulation, that is these bound particles circulating in the blood, the percentage of that bound particles present in the circulation over a period of 6 hours, it was highly dependent on the size, that is nanoparticle size, the particle size, and the retention times, that is decreasing with increasing diameter from 220 nanometer to the maximum of 1100 nanometer. 220 is minimum, maximum size is 100, that is 1100 nanometer. So these data are difficult to interpret on the basis of the flow rate, that is the nanoparticle flow rate, as the RBCs with attached nanoparticles are eliminated somewhat faster than the native erythrocytes, that is erythrocytes without these nanoparticles. Then another group of people, they explored interactions of carboplatin CPT. The CPT nanoparticles, they are actually formed by interaction of this CPT with the fibrinogen present in the blood. So these CPT nanoparticles with the fibrin mesh caused by the induction of clot formation. That is, after blood clotting mechanism is over, you will get fibrin network or fibrin mesh. So that fibrin mesh caused by the induction of clot, that is going to form this CPT, the carboplatin. Nanoparticles with surface ligand, the ligands. So some of the rheological studies, that is properties of the nanoparticles, when they are comparing with surface protein, that is surface ligand proteins, decorated nanoparticles with the unadorned forms. Especially, it is possible that aggregation of these nanoparticles may be caused by the change in surface properties, that surface binding properties of the nanoparticles, and that this will in turn change the flow rate or nanoparticle flow rate, flow of this nanoparticle or of the nanoparticle flow patterns, and perhaps masking of ligands, that is the surface ligands. So nanoparticles are of course sensitive to the medium, that is the medium in which they are all placed for the flow. So even in vitro conditions, that is in vitro conditions, when cell media, the cell medium, that can cause significant increases in diameter of these nanoparticles because of this particle flocculation happens, that is particle accumulation happens. So when we have that kind of interaction with the surface receptors, some surface ligands, they are going to act as receptors of nanoparticles decorated with the ligands, is more complex than intimated by targeting a general target. So some of the factors which is responsible for these nanoparticles binding with the surface ligands are the aggregation of these particles, that is one important factor. Then the masking of ligands by this process. Then the detachment of ligands from the nanoparticle. Then the shear force or the shear induced removal of attached particles. So the instability of plant lectins, frequently used as surface proteins on nanosystems. So that is also because of this, that some of the factors influencing on the flow of these nanoparticles. So this process is explained well, and some of the lack of complete success of targeted drug delivery happens because of these properties. and you can see that the process which is explained in the figure. So in this figure you can see that first one, these nanoparticles are going to aggregate. The aggregation and loss of ligand accessibility. So here you see that ligand is attached with this nanoparticle, and these nanoparticles are going to aggregate now. So this is aggregation process. And once aggregation happens, you see that after that you are having repulsion of these ligands. Ligands will repel each other, so the particles are going away. And this is a blocking agent which is used here, blocking by cleaved ligands. So the ligands binds with the nanoparticles, and you see that this is the surface ligand area which is having a surface ligand, and you see that these blocking ligands will block the interaction. So in this diagram, you can see the variations from the ideal of a single ligand decorated nanoparticle interacting with the receptors. Here you have the receptors spaced at an appropriate distance from the nanoparticles. The diameter shows the loss of ligand accessibility, which would follow from the aggregation of the particles before interaction. The diameter shows the loss of ligand accessibility, which would follow from the aggregation of the particles before interaction with the desired outer surface. And repulsion, this is the repulsion between a particle attached to the receptor surface. This is the receptor surface, and an approaching particle, and blockage of the receptors due to interaction of cleaved ligands.
Hello friends, in this session we have seen about nanoparticles flow, the behavior of these nanoparticles inside the blood vessels, especially nanoparticles behavior at bifurcation points. Hope you have understood this session. I'll be coming back to you in the other session. Until then, it is a bye from KNS Biochemistry. Thank you one and all. Namaskar.